Alright, and welcome here tonight with the AMS Oil Extreme Performance Series with the OCRL League tonight. Tonight you got Matthew Close and Michael Keaton in the booth, and down pressing the keys for us you're going to have John Westland. We're here tonight doing the Lipton T300, 150 laps around Richmond International Speedway. Under the lights tonight, guys, in the Nationwide B-Series cars using the iRacing Sim. Keaton, what do you expect to see from these guys tonight?
Well, Matt, this is Richmond, so you're gonna. I expect a lot of hard racing early on. You might see a couple of accidents take place in the beginning stages, knocking some of the contenders that's battling for the points in the top 10 out of the race. And expect to see someone different win tonight. The first two races they had the same guy win, and I expect someone that's going to be winning this race that you haven't heard from in a long time.
Alright, Michael Keaton, we're a little bit over halfway through their live qualifying right now, but let's go back a few weeks here. We got some information for you guys from the first few weeks actually this season. Michael Keaton, what do you have about their first week?
Well, week one was Daytona, where Dakota Airman started on the pole, but an intense race with a few cautions and an insane pace would see Jason Gaines, which I mentioned earlier, one of the guys who's won in victory lane, with Eric Mickey pushing him all the way to victory lane. So Jason Gaines, of course, he's Turn 2 Motorsports, and Eric Mickey was with JRM. So that's kind of cool to see two different teams work together. And then week two at Vegas, Matt. It was interesting because we saw an actual multi-groove track with some guys being able to do the bottom and a lot of guys on the top side of the track to avoid the bumps on the bottom, so that was pretty neat. And Dakota Airman would claim his second pole of the season, and Airman went out to lead 83 laps of 183. However, Dakota did give that lead up to Mr. Jeff Davis of Turn 2 Motorsports, who would hold on for quite a while as it was a tough place to pass at with the draft model. But it would be Jason Gaines sneaking the second victory of the season. Ryan Manning made a good on pit strategy and took a top 10 to a second place. But it was Jason Gaines, Matt, who's won two in a row, the first two at Daytona and then Vegas.
Yeah, and then we went into week three after a week off. These guys took the week off for Thanksgiving, so breaking a little bit of that momentum over here at the OCRL AMS Oil Extreme Performance Series. But Adam Long in that week and Ryan Manning would lead the most laps together and show their cars to be strong all night. The guys to beat. In the end, though, those two would end up collecting each other in the last two laps. Keaton and Eric Mickey would just go sneaking on by and take that caution flag right there alongside the checkered flag to squeak out that win, making that win for JRM. And then, so far, we're looking at the season, guys. The first 3 weeks, JRM in Turn 2 Motorsports leading the series and pretty much winning every race. So, Keaton, we're going to go to last week's results and see who finished where.
Well, as you just mentioned, Eric Mickey, who did win last week, and in fact, with that win, guess what he did? He captured the points lead. So Eric Mickey's in first in the points. However, Jeff Davis last week at Atlanta finished second, Todd Smith third, Thomas Morris finishing fourth, and Chris Thomas Dukes rounding out the top five.
Yeah, and then finishing sixth last week, you got Case Hickins. Seventh, you got that Sean Sadler in the Pennzoil car. In eighth, you got Chad Dalton. Ninth, you got Matt Lacrosse. And rounding out your top 10 from last week, you've got Scott Ikes.
Absolutely, and like I said, you know, with Eric claiming that win last week, it gave him the points lead, which he is in first. Chris Thomas Dukes second in the OCRL AMSOIL XP Series, second in the points. Jason Gaines, it's kind of crazy how Jason would give up the points lead, how he finished twice in first place. It was some devastating finish that put him back there in 17 points behind. And third, Jeff Davis fourth. And looking for that first win of the season, Todd Smith, who's had good back-to-back weeks here lately.
Yeah, and then back in sixth, you've got Thomas Morris up 2 positions this week, Keaton, only 21 points behind. He's gotten 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s, so he's been pretty consistent so far. Still looking for his first win also, but still a strong competitor. Back in 7th, you've got John Dragonetti, 34 points back. 8th place, you got ETV's own Dakota Earman, 34 points back. Bad luck for him all season long, guys. Starting 2 poles, but still no top 5s. He's got 1 top 10, though. In the 9th position for points, you got Ryan Manning, 37 points back. And then 10th, you've got Sean Sadler, 37 points back also. So we got a few guys just tied for positions right now, Keaton. And the points are starting to really get close back towards about 10th place.
Yeah, but another chapter has been turned here tonight, Matt. And in fact, we go to Richmond International Speedway, where these guys are going to do it short track style. And to see if Turn 2 Motorsports and JR Motorsports can continue to win and show strong cars, or if Ryan Manning, Adam Long can finish where they know they should have finished last week, we will find out tonight, though.
Yeah, Keaton, and we were talking a little bit about that in the pre-race, I believe, with some of the guys like Dakota Earman and Chris Dukes I talked to. They were talking about Turn 2 Motorsports and this JR Motorsports being together at one point, splitting now, but still working together. So you guys can expect to see people from both those teams out there tonight working together and pretty much helping out each other a little bit left and right with the setups.
Qualifying still getting underway here at Richmond, where Chris A. Thomas Dukes sitting on the pole right now with a 20.326. That's a pretty quick lap, Matt.
Yeah, that's a pretty quick lap out there, Keaton. But earlier on in practice, I was seeing people run like 20 flats almost. You got Jeff Ford in that 04 car. He pretty much ran a 20 flat coming out of practice, and you got a few people still in the ones. So that 20.3 laid down by Chris Dukes in that A car, just I don't think it's going to hold up in these later parts of qualifying, as we've only got 11 drivers out there so far. Yep. So Keaton, so far tonight, I've been watching a lot of these guys during practice. I mean, we're under the lights. We got the cooler position, the cooler temperatures and everything so far. And I'm just seeing these guys slide all around during qualifying here, especially off of turn 4.
Yeah, this is the top track here, Matt, Richmond, where you got to be gentle coming in, and you've kind of got to be on top of your throttle coming out, because throttle control here at Richmond is very key. And I don't know if a lot of guys are going to be using their brakes as much as we've seen recent past here at Richmond. A lot of people roll out of the throttle real early here and maybe just tap the brake a little bit. But there's other drivers who come in the corners, hauling it, hauling the mail, and then they'll just get on the brakes and light those rotors up. So it'll be interesting to see if you can stay off the guy in front of you tonight and keep from hitting him and wrecking him, because Richmond, if you wreck in a turn, there's a lot of people that's going to be involved.
Alright guys, so we just got word Jason Gaines taking the pole in that number 15, running a 20.223. You guys just saw him a moment ago up there on our screen. And like I said earlier on, Keaton, there were a lot faster times going on in practice, so I think these next few guys out here coming up on this lineup, they're going to just go out there and pretty much crush what we've got for a qualifying time so far. But like you were mentioning, in the turns, it's hard. Like, they get in there hard, and they pretty much, once here at Richmond, you get in that turn and you slide back down into the traffic. I mean, restarts, we've seen a lot of incidents here pretty much in racing where the guy either gets loose off of 4 because they get in the gas a little too hard, or going down into 1. These guys really like to drive it in there, get that extra spot and clear it, slide out to the high side, Keaton, pretty much over those bumps, exiting the turn, and that seems to cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and trouble's not what you want to get into here early on at Richmond. There's 150 laps, and at average about 20 seconds a lap. If you go down with a little bit of damage and you have to pit, Matt, that's what's going to cause these guys to get in trouble. If they wreck, if they have to stay on pit road constantly, because it's really hard to pass here, and you've got to keep every bit of momentum that you can ahead out in front of you, or you'll go 1, 2, 3 laps down, and your night will be over with you quick.
Yeah, guys, and so far we've got 23 cars, it looks like, registered to race tonight. So far down in qualifying, we've got 14. We got about 4 cars left in the qualifying lineup. A few cars missed it. So right now out there, you got that 30 of Ryan Manning. He laid down a pretty slow qualifying lap, Keaton, a 20.9, way off the pace. But next we're going to see that number 3, Jeff Davis, coming out on the track, and he ran a 20.173 during practice. So if he's not trying to pull some strategy to go to the back or anything like that, Keaton, I think we're going to see a new pole sitter right here.
Yeah, Jeff Davis is no stranger to being in the lead in the OCRL.com series here. Jeff's driving that Jack Daniels Chevrolet, and on the back of it, Matt, it says pace yourself. Not only for drinking responsibly, but pacing yourself in the race, and that's where these guys have got to be. There he goes, taking the pole, in fact, there, Mr. Davis in that Jack Daniels machine. But being patient here and pacing yourself at Richmond is key to success here.
Yeah, definitely pacing yourself is going to keep the success. Jeff Davis went out there, ran his 1 lap, did take the pole with a 20.162. That's faster than his practice lap he laid down earlier. Now out on the track, you've got that number 7 of Dakota Ehrman in the ETV Live Tax Slayer Chevy.
Yeah, the bad boy written on his rear deck lid there in that Tax Slayer Chevrolet. Looks sharp looking. Dakota, of course, doing a fine job as always with us. He's racing here tonight. It's kind of fun to get to broadcast one of your co-workers, and Dakota putting a 20.205 second quickest on the board for Richmond.
Yeah, and right there, see him get a little bit loose off of 2. I don't know if he was planning to run that second lap all the way out, but he seems that he's going to just cut the engine and pull down pit road. Keaton, that's something new I just saw with these past 2 cars. They've only gone out there and they ran that 1 lap. And I mean, you guys may ask why you've always got that second chance, but truly here on this sim, those tires eat up in that 1 lap. I mean, I've always tried to go out for that second qualifying lap, and it's usually over half a second slower.
Yeah, you've got to hot lap it. I mean, this is Richmond. This is under the light short track style, and it's Chad Dalton. Let's see if he can light it up in this orange and black white Chevrolet of GetSaved.com. Getting gear with Christ. I like that paint scheme there. Chad Dalton, first lap on the board, 20.220, third quickest. Matt?
Yeah, third quickest, Keaton. I mean, he was second fastest in practice. We are running the normal style. You go slowest to fastest in practice. So you got Chad Dalton out there right now. He looks to be running a second quick lap. We'll see what he does coming out of here in 4 if he can't do anything better. Alright, Keaton, that second lap comes in at a 20.4. See, the last day for your qualifier is just about to go out, that 04 Jeff Ford. He ran a 20.088 in practice. So, like I said, we're going slowest to fastest. We're always going to expect the next guy to be a little bit faster, Keaton. But this is the guy I consistently saw faster out there in practice.
And he was 2 out of the 26 drivers who put down a 20 flat. Chad Dalton, who we just seen, also put a 20.93 in practice, but in qualifying only able to do a 20.20. Jeff Ford in that iRacing Today Chevrolet coming out of 4. Let's see if he can take the pole.
And he does, Keaton. Barely, but surely he does take the pole. That 04 of Jeff Ford going to be sitting on the pole with a 20.123. So definitely slower than his practice lap, but just beats out Jeff Davis by a few hundredths of a second. Guys, that was our last qualifier, and as we're waiting for these guys to get set up to race, we're going to go down trackside with your Cactus Cuties for the national anthem.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch.
Alright guys, and we're back here with the AMSOIL Extreme Performance Series, the OCRL. Drivers are still in the meeting, about to make their ways into the cars, but Keaton, what do we know here about the tires and fuel? Seeing so far you've been saying that we got to pace yourself.
Well, there's no question about tires here at Richmond, Matt. I mean, this is a track where it's short style. It's just under a mile long, just over a half a mile. And the way that you have to drive these cars, these corners, you will have to have tires. And we will see probably some yellow flags early on to keep the fuel in the car. But my guess here of fuel would probably be about 60 to 70 laps to cut the 150 laps in half if you could stretch it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that they'll be able to make that 60. I'm saying probably, I mean, our real fuel window, guys, is going to be about 65 to 80 laps here, depending on how hard these guys really drive into the corner. We were telling you earlier, a lot of these guys not going to be using a lot of brake. These cars got those nice huge spoilers on the car that slow them down, give them that downforce that they really need. But I mean, those bumps really going to tear up the wheels if you try and stay on that low line coming out of the turn too long. As we saw sometimes those guys in qualifying, you get up a little too high coming up off the turn, you're pretty much eating up that right rear tire and putting that car around.
Yeah, and you could just as easily wear that right front out too, Matt, coming out of the corners trying to keep it off the wall. You'll see some guys kind of overdrive it to the left a little bit to keep from hitting that wall coming out of turn 4, turn 2. And that puts quite a bit of wear on that right front, but most of the wear we'll see on the right rear like you mentioned.
Right, and I mean, that's something we got to talk about right now, Keaton, is I see different driving styles every day. We got the people who drive it in the corners hard. They really wear out those right front tires, and those are the guys we'll be hearing telling their crew chiefs, tight, tight, tight. And then after that, the next thing we'll hear is loose, loose, loose from somebody else because maybe they're not driving their car hard enough.
And, Matt, those are the guys that Goodyear loves the most.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have to make too many of those tires out there. But so, looking at the qualifying grid, guys, you got Jeff Ford on the pole. And, I mean, he was fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. Let's go back to those couple weeks, though, Keaton. You got Turn 2 Motorsports and JR Motorsports from this league pretty much ruling the field. So you got Dakota Ehrman, it looks like Jeff Davis, I know, from both those teams up front tonight to start there. Do you think these teams are going to pick up another win?
Absolutely, Matt. If not, one of these other fine teams will do it. Like you mentioned, you've also got Lacrosse Racing, Matt Lacrosse. Keep an eye on him. He's the only driver right now for his team, but he's quick. Also racing in the Real Sim Racing Icebreaker Series, too. So Matt Lacrosse knows exactly how to get this car around Richmond Motor Speedway or International Speedway. And like you mentioned, Jeff Davis, Jason Gaines on Turn 2 Motorsports. Jason Gaines is having an excellent season. He's won 2. I think that Makita Reese car could win here tonight at Richmond.
Yeah, and we just got the command that they're going to go in about 1 minute here, guys, to get those drivers all buckled in and get ready to go. But while they're doing that, we're just going to give you a little bit of info here, more on ETV Live. I mean, so far, Keaton, we got a few big deals. So for the winter here, we got the Real Sim Racing doing their Icebreaker Series Monday nights at 9:30. Then Tuesday nights, I know you go over there and you do the Pro Series with Tim Terry and Michael Conti. I mean, we got Wesley Outland Monday nights, usually before the Real Sim Icebreaker Series. He goes out there, he does this nice radio show of And the Winner is Motorsports with Mike Neff. They get some nice, cool people to go in and join them on the shows. I mean, we're here tonight with the OCRL, but following tonight, same time every week, we're going to have Real Sim Racing doing another series start up with us using the trucks. And I think that's going to be pretty cool for that league, Keaton. I've never seen that with Real Sim Racing where they got a full organized truck series going on.
Yeah, this truck series is going to be a blast. They're working out the details of getting all that together. I think they're ready to go with it. They've got the drivers that they needed. And it'll be fun to watch some guys see if they can race their way, if you will, into the 2013 series in the Real Sim Racing deal when it kicks off next year.
Alright, guys, so now that we've got these guys starting to go out on the track, we're going to send you down trackside for the command.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Alright guys, we're just going to bring you through the running order for tonight's race. The Lipton T300, 150 laps under the lights here at Richmond International Speedway. Getting the pole, you got the 04 Jeff Ford, and starting on the outside pole, you got Jeff Davis and that number 3 Jack Daniels car.
ETV's on the number 7 Chevrolet, Dakota Airman, Chad Dalton.
Starting 5th on that 3rd row, the 15 of Jason Gaines, and on the outside of him, you got Chris Thomas Dukes.
Matt LaCrosse in the number 13 machine, going to start 7th tonight. In the 8th position, the 99, Christopher Munger.
Rolling off 9th in the number 24 car, you got Gil Gock, and on the outside of him, the 88 of Jake Finch.
16 belongs to Todd Smith, he rolls off 11th. 12th belongs to the 06 of Lewis Gregory.
Starting in the next row on the 13th position, 97 of Adam Long, and starting 14th, you got Sean Sadler.
15th belongs to the 45 Chevrolet of Christopher Carpenter. To his right, the 16th spot guy, and the number 4, Cody McCorkle.
Starting in the 17th spot, you've got the 6 of Alan Potts, and on the outside of him, the 30 of Ryan Manning.
19th belongs to the number 11 machine, Wendell James. Outside him in the 67 and 20th, Shannon Ziegler.
Starting 21st, you got the number 3, Case Pickens. And on the outside of him, I believe you're going to end up seeing Eric Mickey.
And then you got Austin Painter, Patrick O'Toole, and then Johnny Williams, Matt, who rose off 26 in that 23 machine.
Alright, so as they're making this pace lap, just going to mention that was your points leader, the number 5, we announced Eric Mickey rolling off 24th tonight, so definitely got a lot of work for him coming to the green flag. But we saw that speeds upward of 20 flats in practice, 20.1s in qualifying, so we're going to expect 20s to 21s all night long here. It's going to be hard racing to getting as many points as they can on that points leader where Eric Mickey's all the way in the back.
Yeah, Eric Mickey's definitely got a battle ahead of him. It is 150 laps. He didn't qualify, folks. He started 24th, as we mentioned, but not taking the cube time here, so we'll see if that pays off for him. It's kind of hard to tell here. If I'm around where Sean Sadler, Christopher Carpenter is, or Cody McCorkle around that 14, 15, 16 spot, Matt, I'm going to be worried because I got a lot of people ahead of me. I got a lot of people behind me.
Right, you don't want to be in the middle, especially like we said, going into turn 1, you got a lot of people who are going to overdrive it, underdrive it, and once these cars start wrecking, especially coming off the turn, that bump really gives you nowhere to go. Pace car is off, we're coming to the green flag, you got Jeff Ford bunching up the field, slowing it down a little bit, and off he goes, a good restart by Dakota Ehrman, possibly going to get by that second place car, even going down into turn 1.
Yeah, Dakota Ehrman, good start for him. He does get by Jeff Davis, but Jeff Ford in the iRacing Today Chevrolet going to take the lead here. Going to lead lap 1 of the Richmond International Speedway, 150 laps with the Lipton T300, Matt.
Yeah, you got Chad Dalton losing a few positions on that restart. Also, Jason Gaines made it by him for the 4th position on that first lap. You've already got, looking up front, Jeff Ford pretty much gaining a little bit of ground off Dakota, but not so much that Dakota's not going to be able to stick right there with him.
Single file racing here at Richmond International Raceway 2 as well, Matt. No cautions, 3 laps into the race. Everyone's looking pretty good, just trying to get their groove and find out where their car's comfortable at. Everybody doing a good job so far.
Back in the 13th position, you had the number 97, Adam Long, get a little squirrely off there, turn 2. Eric Mickey already making his way through the field as he's making an inside move off right there, Adam Long right now as he goes into turn 1.
And let's keep an eye on Eric Mickey here. He is your points leader. He's in 14th spot. He's moved all the way up from 24th, Matt. Now he's working the back door of that Follow Me RIP JRM Motorsports on Twitter, Shannon Siegler, and that black machine.
As he's making the charge now, guys, running 20.7s here back in the pack, which is about a 2/10 slower than your leader on that last lap high. So he's definitely losing time having to battle these cars, but he's back in another pack. He's making his way around the outside of that 67, but he looks to the inside as he gets a little squirrely off turn 4.
It looked like Sean Sander was that guy in that Dollar General Ford all the way up high side on the racetrack. Adam Long in 14th goes underneath, but Eric Mickey, points leader, up to 13th from 24th.
Yeah, and right in front of Eric Mickey, you got that 67 and Shannon Segler battling Todd Smith right now for the 10th position, trying to get a top 10 tonight. Todd Smith, as we said, he really drives it into those turns, and Shannon Segler kind of like relaxes his way in, but Eric Mickey right now, single file to back out. It looks like he's put his car back on cruise control. He thinks he's gaining enough spots right now.
And back in the 13th position now, just behind that battle up there, you've got Ryan Manning and Adam Long going at it. Of course, Adam running that Bulldog Chevrolet, and Manning in the Thunder Up OKC Chevrolet, looking mighty good out there. Started the race 18th up to 14th, so a couple of guys making some early passes, and here they go under Todd Smith as caution comes out on the speedway, Matt.
Yeah, I'm looking around, Keaton, trying to figure out where that smoke could be coming from.
It's like the 45 machine of the Old Spice swagger, Christopher Carpenter, spinning it out on the backstretch in 19th spot. Not going to hit anything. Nobody going to hit him. Just a self-solo spin. It looks like he was trying to get up under the 11 machine of Wendell James there. Got it loose, Matt. Overcorrected. Did a fine job of not hitting anything, though.
Yeah, nonetheless, you're right. Just got down there. And like I said, on those bottom grooves coming out of the turns, it's really bumpy. It's weird the way that it comes out. It's almost like a hill exiting turn, too. So when you're down there, definitely messing with the shocks on that car, and it's easy to slip up when you're going down that low, and it's easy to slide up high if you're too far up on that bump.
Exactly, and looks like Jeff Ford is going to come down pit road here, Matt, and going to bring some of the field with him. The 15 machine of Jason Gaines electing to stay out. He'll probably get that bonus point that the OCRL gives out. Couple of staying out, though, Matt, but the rest of the field coming in.
Yeah, Jeff Ford, Dakota Ehrman, both coming down pit road right now. It looks like you also got Jeff Davis, so I'm watching these front guys as they pull into their pit stops. Clean for all three of them. I see the right side's going up. I just can't see Keaton. I mean, we said these tires do get eaten up. It looks like they're going to take all 4 tires right now. Like we said, this might be a little strategy. They couldn't quite make it halfway, and that's what they're doing right now, is topping off those fuel tanks to make sure they can do maybe a 50-50 stint.
Well, we have ran 11 or 10 green flag laps, and sometimes you can overwork the car the first 10 laps, Matt. You know, it's the beginning of the race. You're you're kind of, nervous, nerve-wracked, being broadcasted. You don't want to wreck early on. So some guys may have overdriven the car a little bit, and coming down pit road to get those fresh tires could be very beneficial. But some electing to stay out. Those guys like Austin Painter, the 88 machine of Jake Finch, Ryan Manning, Charter.com machine Eric Mickey, who's your points leader, up to second, and of course Jason Gaines, who won the first 2 races. He stayed out, and he's now your points race leader.
Yeah, but definitely the biggest story right now would be that Eric Mickey, number 5 car, staying out to pick up the extra positions. He did start back in the pack. So being your points leader, this was definitely something he needed to do. He didn't do the qualifying lap, Keaton, so he's definitely proved himself as fast, but to put his car back up into the track position where he needs to be is definitely the smartest move at this point.
Yeah, it really is. He's no stranger to the lead. He's leading the points. He won last week. He knows what it takes, and he's got the car up there now. Get a little bit of TV time, if you will. And if he can just hang on and not be aggressive, over-aggressive, but keep in mind that he's got some guys that's going to be coming behind him with fresh tires. But with 10 laps of fall off, it's not going to be too bad of a difference. maybe to start off with, Matt, but later on in the run, if we stay green, we'll start to see the guys that stayed out fall back and the guys who pitted move forward.
Yeah, so we had 5 cars stay out. You had the 15 of Jason Gaines, the 5 of Eric Mickey, 30 of Ryan Manning, 88 Jake Finch, 25 of Austin Painter, all staying out. All the cars behind them taking 4 tires and filling those tanks up, as it looks like we're getting ready to go green the next time by here at Richmond. So just 14 laps in a 150 lap race. These guys, some definitely playing the fuel and pit strategy already in the track, trying to figure out where you really want to be with track position.
And we're going to see if these guys can continue to run at the pace that they were running before that solo spin. And again, you know, the 45 machine that spun, it was just it was a really fine job that he did staying off the wall there on the inside. Could have been a lot uglier than what it was. It was just a self-solo accident.
Okay, so we got the pace car off, the 15 of Jason Gaines, jumping that restart over everybody else, leaving them sleeping, gets a nice lead into turn 1, that 30 working the 5 under, is like, drives it in hard, and he's going to be able to slide up in front of him out of turn 2.
Yep, that Reese machine of Jason Gaines has got the lead. He's got Ryan Manning behind him in that Thunder Up Chevrolet, who lost a little bit of momentum out of 4. And here comes Eric Mickey, the points leader, into 1 for 2nd place.
Back in for the 6th place position. Dakota Ehrman made the pass on Jeff Ford. Coming to that restart, you now got Dakota Ehrman stuck behind that 25 car of Austin Painter. Dakota Ehrman on the fresher tires, now making that move to the inside.
Dakota Ehrman moves up into the 5th position in that Tax Slayer Chevrolet, also sponsored by ETV as well. He's got the car up to 5th. You mentioned he passed Jeff Ford. That's the guy who was leading the race before the caution came out. So he got by him. Now it's just to work on Jake Finch, who's just up ahead of him. And this is how we do National Guard Chevrolet, who's trying to battle the 3rd position of Ryan Manning.
Looking back in the pack, you got that 8 car Chris Dukes now making his way under the 25. Austin Painter is Dakota Ehrman getting loose off of turn 2.
Wow, man, great save by Dakota. He kept it off the wall, kept it off of everyone else, no caution. I tell you what, though, his hands were full of that machine.
Definitely had the hands full, and that's just the same thing we saw. Like I said, he got a little too low coming out of the turn. And it's just, the track gets a little iffy down there for all these drivers. You don't really want to be in that position where you go that low, but sometimes you just put it there because you want to make that move and you feel like you've really got the momentum.
Yeah, and that's where it gets you, man. You feel like you've got the momentum down low coming out of the corner and you stay low. But when you do, it's just like the car wants to just turn around on you, and that's what we saw happen to the 45 machine of Christopher Carpenter, and we just saw it happen to Dakota Ehrman, although he didn't quite spin it out. But man, I tell you what, his hands were full to avoid it.
Yeah, you've got Jason Gaines using that track position, pulled out front by almost a second right now. But I'm looking back towards about 5th place. You got the number 30 Ryan Manning. He just got passed by the 04 Jeff Ford. Jeff Ford, of course, on those new tires from that last pit stop. And now he's being chased down by Chad Dalton, who's also got 4 fresh tires. But Keaton, so far from what I'm seeing, that 4 fresh tires ain't really doing too much for these drivers as far as actual speed-wise over where they weren't already faster than the guys that were behind them.
Yeah, and we just saw Ryan Manning actually lose 2 more positions, 1 to the 3 car of Jeff Davis. And Matt, we're just now being told that the 25 machine, Austin Painter, who's 2 laps down currently, has pulled the machine behind the garage, and they're saying that his day is finished.
Yeah, he started 5th on that last restart, so I'm not quite sure what happened to him. He seemed to be hanging in there for a little bit. So possible trouble on that machine. We'll have to pick up with that a little bit later on. But right now you got people pretty much single filed out through the entire field, just starting to get into their grooves and really trying to avoid what happened to bringing out the solo spin for that last caution, Keaton.
Yeah, I actually went back and looked at Austin Painter to see if he hit the wall or what happened, and It looked like his hand was out. Oh, the number 9 machine spinning out on the track here. Got to get on that with that, running 17th position. That's Sean Sadler. Another self-solo spin, getting into 1, Matt. Maybe too hard on the binders there. Looks like, yeah.
A little too much rear brake in that key, and it looks like that's another thing too. Is like when these cars hit the center of the turns, there's like a huge preload, and you just feel your car set in and get that huge rotation. But he just slides it up, backs it in the wall, and you can see right below him the 45 of Carpenter sliding it around to try and avoid him as best he can. But it doesn't look like Carpenter collects anybody either. That car going to be able to come away clean. So 9 cars going to have a lot of damage on the rear end, but Christopher Carpenter able to get away clean, just has to go to the back.
Yeah, I'd say Christopher Carpenter needs to get in the car now and head to the gas station and buy a lottery ticket, because this guy's full of luck. The first caution that came out, he self-spun it. Same situation, no damage, didn't hit the wall. Here we are again, avoiding a wreck, just got on the brakes a little hard, spun it around, avoided the wall, and didn't hit anyone. So Christopher Carpenter tonight 2 times around, loop-de-loo, but no damage to that 45 machine.
Yeah, guys, so after another long run, we got a ton of people on pit road pulling a little bit of a different strategies. But as they're on this caution, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, welcome back. We're taking lap 30 of 150 here, so still just getting things started. They're lined up double file behind the pace car. You had Dakota Ehrman and Adam Long staying out to take your front row on this restart. So definitely the older tires, I think, on this really long run here that they did, about 15 laps, is going to affect them more than that first one. But we'll just have to see as the pace car is off and Dakota is going for the green flag, jumping the restart again.
Man, what a restart that Dakota got there too, Matt. Took off like a bullet, but the silver bullet, Jason Gaines, having a little bit of difficulty with the 97 right now. The Adam Long, we thought Gaines might have spun it out there, but he was able to save it. Man, he's loose, Matt.
Yeah, back, and you see, I'm just watching Jeff Davis. He was going 3 wide. He didn't know where to go. He ends up slamming on the brakes. By the time they get the 3, he's all the way back to 8th place right now. Jeff Ford right in front of him, almost rear-ending that 07 of Chad Dalton. People are scrambling everywhere back here, Keaton. They just don't know where to go.
Yeah, Jeff Davis in the 8th. Oh, no, caution's back out on the speedway. Looks like this one's going to involve a couple of cars. Matt Lacrosse running 21st. Looks like he's going to be the innocent bystander here for the 3rd caution tonight. Collected by the 23 machine of Johnny Williams, who hit the wall, and then the 13 collected him. Matt Lacrosse just had nowhere to go, Matt.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. But you know who I'm watching, Keaton? The guy who you said should buy a lottery ticket, because that 45 Chris Carpenter makes it by these 2 spinning cars who I would have thought just would come down the track and hit him. But exactly like you said, just got tied up. And once these cars get a little tied up together, it just nothing they can do about it. But once again, this guy, he needs to go buy a lottery ticket, Keaton.
Yeah, if you know Christopher Carpenter and you're listening to this broadcast right now, call him up on the cell phone right now. Tell him to pit, get out of the race, get in his car, go buy a lottery ticket, because this guy has avoided the wall and someone else 3 times in a row. If he won't buy a lottery ticket, I guess I'll have to go buy one for him and just win his winnings for him.
Yeah, definitely got to do that. But so these guys, short run here. I don't think we'll see anybody pit. If we do, it's going to definitely be Dakota Ehrman or Adam Long under this caution.
Jeff Ford running first here right now, currently Chad Dalton. Excuse me, I'm looking at the practice. Dakota Ehrman running first here, currently Jason Gaines second. Eric Mickey, the man that's in the points lead right now, running 3rd. Chad Dalton in that 07 machine running 4th. And Jeff Ford is running 5th.
Alright, we got Eric Mickey here with us to talk to. Eric, how's your race going so far? We realized you didn't run a qualifying lap, so you started all the way from the back.
Yeah, the setup's fine. The car is really, really good. I think we really have a shot here, which is surprising because I wasn't sure I was going to make the start of this. But yeah, we just started pulling our way up through the pack when we got started, so I'm happy.
Eric, this is Michael Keaton up in the booth, man. Coming into Richmond tonight here, first in the points, man. Any idea where you feel that your car should be at the end of this race tonight?
If it can be in the top 5 with a shot to win, I'll be happy. Otherwise, you know, I'm going to be pretty disappointed if the car feeling this good at this point isn't in the top 5 at the end.
Alright, Eric, is there, I mean, out there so far, these guys are getting loose on the bottom. You having any trouble with that?
I can manage it. If I overdrive it, then I do, but when I just take it easy, I'm fine, and I'm typically pulling in the guys when I do that. So I think people are just kind of overdriving it, thinking that these cars, they drive so well, the track is really fun, and they want to overdrive it a lot, but I mean, you really have to get that balance.
Alright, I got one last question for you before we send you back to your team. We're really questionable about the fuel mileage up here. How's your car doing on gas?
If it's fast enough, gas won't matter. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't think it'll be a few mileage race tonight. I think we're going to have a ton more cautions throughout this night, and it's going to be track position and pit strategy at the end as far as when you pit under caution.
Alright, thanks, and wish you luck in the booth, and we're going to send you back down there to talk with your crew chief and everything. We're sure you got a lot of strategy to work out.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys being here to showcase this race and this league. It's a fun thing, and we really enjoy your broadcasts.
Thank you very much. That's Eric Mickey, who's first in the points right now in that Charter Chevrolet, that Charter Cable Company there. Matt running 3rd as we go back to green here. In the Lipton T300, 38 laps into the board, the number 7 machine going to lead them to the line.
Yeah, and I thought for sure that we'd see Dakota pit under that caution, seeing he hadn't got tires on the one before. But he gets another nice jump on that restart, and it looks behind him that the 07 of Chad Dolan trying to make an outside move on the 15 of Jason Gaines. I haven't seen this all-night work for anybody yet, but I know Richmond, there's a high groove there that they can use, Keaton, so I think we'll see that not so much coming into play on these short runs, but a little bit on the longer runs.
And right now in the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we just mentioned Eric Mickey. He's in that mix. But Chad Dalton, you just mentioned the high line, man. He's running that high line. Look at Dalton go on the outside. Jason Gaines stuck on the bottom. And as I say that, for the last 2 laps, Dalton was holding Gaines there down low. and now Gaines able to pass here, and now Mickey underneath the 7 machine in 2.
Yeah, what I noticed about those first 2 laps, Keaton, though, is Chad wasn't giving him all that much room to slide up coming out of the turns, which was really causing a problem for Gaines getting that apex through the center. But once he gave him a little bit more of a space and realized, you know what, we still got over 100 laps to go. I gotta cool my jets, and I gotta just get down there and be where I feel comfortable.
It's like the top 10 guys right now, single file. A little bit of action going on back here, though, for 15th, where Christopher Munger is running. He's got Cody McCorkle. He was there moments ago. He lost a little bit of ground, and you know, Richmond's all about momentum. If you can't carry that car off the corner, Matt, you're going to go back, and we just saw Cody McCorkle lose that momentum. Now he's gaining it back on him into 1 and 2 here, trying to run that Ford machine. NOS energy drink of Christopher Munger down, who's running 14th.
Yeah, I'm looking. You got your leader getting loose going into turn 1. As you see, Jason Gaines having to go to that outside. The outside hasn't worked tonight. Dakota able to slide back up in front of him, not completely. As Gaines still on the I side as they go through 3 and 4.
That brings up some 2x2 racing, but not before we get a caution flag here. Looks like the number 97 machine of Adam Long running 20th. Matt Lacrosse also in the mix-up as well.
Yeah, trying to rewind that back a little bit here, Keith. That 97 powers it up off the turn. Oh, the 13 just bounces it off the wall and gets into his front end and spins that car spinning for the inside wall. So damage going to be on that number 13 of Matt Lacrosse, but definitely not as much as the 97 of Adam Long. As you guys can see, just coming out of the turn, that 97 is coming up, but the 13 bounces off, almost takes out the 11 of Wendell James too.
Yeah, you know, and Adam Long, he's running that Georgia Bulldog Chevrolet. Talking about coming out of a bad week of losing the Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa in the SEC Championship. Adam Long also having a little bit of difficulty on the track, just like the team of Georgia Bulldogs. And Dakota, you're on pit road right now. The right sides are up. Crew coming around to the left. Looks like you're taking 4 tires, man. How's the car for you right now?
Well, the car is great. I'm just kind of being a little stupid. For the race, we knew it was being a little loose, so we tightened it up. And I know that it was fast like that, but it's kind of tight, especially in old tires. And there, I just screwed up, hit the apron, and lost a lot of track position, so I knew how to stay out and get some of it back somehow. And it seemed to work. It played out. I was hoping everybody come down after 2 or 3 cautions. It didn't quite play out like that, though. But I'm hoping for another caution. Maybe everybody else comes down and I could lead back.
Dakota, from what we've seen so far, and Matt would concur here with me, we've seen a lot of loose guys coming up off the corners, staying down low. Is that something that you guys knew about coming into tonight's race at Richmond, where the car, if you try to keep it too low coming out of the corners, it'll just snap loose on you?
Yeah, well, first off, that apron in itself is a really tricky thing. You cannot get it. You got to use it. You got to get down there to it, but you can't use too much of it, or it turns the car around itself. Getting off the corner, we've had so much trouble getting around. We had to find the maximum off and how to get it to turn in, which is really difficult. It just slides. It wants to slide every time you come off the corner if you don't have good throttle control, and that's something where a lot of guys aren't patient enough. They want to just kind of hammer down on the throttle, and it's a pain to try to basically reteach everything or kind of relearn it to be patient coming off and to be fast like that. But the car is good, at least, and we're having not much trouble getting off the corner. It's a little loose. But I do want to thank ET Life for being on the car, and Tax Slayer, and Junior Motorsports, Jeff Becky Jr. I know he can't be there, but thanks to all you guys, and thank you, ETV, for coming out and doing this.
Yeah, and Dakota, from what I understand, you got Junior Motorsports, Torn 2 Motorsports, kind of like partners, winning every race this year so far. Do you think that they're going to win tonight?
Well, when I look up here, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're set 8th. We've got a good group of guys up there real fast. We're always fast. These guys are amazing, really hard to beat, even in the same setup. I mean, it's amazing how fast these guys are. I have a feeling, though, T2M, JRM, we're going to be at least there to contend in the end. I know, what's his face, Jeff Ford, he's been pretty quick and real hard to beat, but I guess he's behind me, and that's all I needed.
Alright, good luck, Dakota. We're going to drop you back with your team. And let's just hope you can get your first top 5 tonight and a little bit of better luck from these other weeks.
Thank you, sir.
And like we mentioned, it looks like Jason Gaines, Matt, electing to take the high side here to restart. So Jason Gaines going to take the high side over the low side here at Richmond. Is that a good move, or or is it just a preference?
I think it's just a preference. I mean, we haven't seen that high side work, so say the inside car did get somewhat of a good restart, that guy starting on the outside would be screwed. But going back to the restarts here, you have 15 Jason Gaines getting a good jump, like always the leader's been getting, and we've already got a caution out somewhere.
And looks like this one's going to belong to the 04 machine. Oh, that's Jeff Ford. Let's rewind and look what happened, and it looks like the 45 machine, Christopher Carpenter. He was actually, looked like Chad Dalton might have forced a 3 wide there, and the 45 pushed him up to the middle lane, and Jeff Ford's probably thinking, hey man, where's my room at? But probably didn't realize that he was 3 wide there.
I wouldn't say so much that he slid up for the 07 of Chad Dalton, Keenan. I'd say, like I talked about a lot, because I know this happens in all the racing series, no matter what car you're in. Turn 1, drove it in there a little bit too hard, trying to get that extra position, just slid up into the 04.
Yeah, you're right, man. After looking at a different angle there, that's exactly the case. It does look like Carpenter may have got on the binders a little bit too late.
Yeah, so that bad luck for the 04. Still good luck for that 45 Keaton, not going around or anything. But as I'm watching this replay one more time, there's another car solely involved, it looks like, in this wreck. The 93 getting his nose in that inside wall a little bit, trying to avoid it. That's 93 Case Hickens, but it doesn't look like he's going to have a lot of damage on that car.
Yeah, and he's one of the drivers for Rudy Motorsports in that Chevrolet. Case always doing a fine job. He's running 14th, qualified 21st, so he's up a couple of points from where he started at. But leading this race right now, leading the charge out front, Jason Gaines, Eric Ickey, Jake Finch, Jeff Davis, and Gil Gawk. And joining us now in the booth, Patrick O'Toole in that number 44 machine, man. How's it going?
Very good out here, even though this car's wicked loose. We've struggled in practice all night tonight before the race, but I would like to thank Case Hinkins for helping me out with the setup, and Kellogg's for sponsoring us tonight. I also would like to get a big shout out to Michael Keaton for helping in the broadcast.
Oh yeah, no problem at all, Patrick. And we saw here that you qualified 25th. Well, you set to qualify 25th. You didn't actually take a time, but you started 25th. You've got the car up to 19th. You're down on pit road, probably going to fall back here to 22nd, but you're on the lead lap. Plenty of laps to go. What's the strategy looking at? What's the strategy looking for you right now, Pat?
I'm going to take it easy because we've had several wrecks right around me. I'm just going to take it easy. We've had bad luck all year, and hoping to get some points tonight.
All right, while the crew's to work on Patrick O'Toole, we'll let him go. Pat, thanks for joining us in the booth, man. Good luck with the rest of the race. And that was Patrick O'Toole, who was running 18th, and in fact, I think he'll come out 18th here. Some of the guys also pitting with him. So, Matt, Jason Gaines still on the leaderboard as the #1 man to beat.
Yeah, I mean, ever since he's been up there, the strongest car is pulling out by a second pretty much every time he gets out front on these restarts. Eric Mickey seems to be the only really competitive car I've seen chase him down a little bit more on these long runs, but just not getting the chance. These guys got to get going here. They got a little under 100 laps to go now. We're on lap 54, 150 tonight in this Lipton T300 with the AMS Oil Extreme Performance Series, but you got Eric Mickey, your points leader, second. He needs the time. I think he's going to be my driver to win tonight, Keith.
Yeah, Eric Mickey doing a fabulous job right now. But like you mentioned, Jason Gaines on that outside, it just looks like that outside on the restarts has really good momentum.
And as we see it there, good momentum for Jason Gaines. You got the 3 actually of Jeff Davis pushing him by the 5 on that whole restart there. You got Jeff Davis stuck on that outside, almost collects the 5, and we got another caution out on this restart. It looks like there's going to be a lot of cars in this one.
Yeah, there is, Matt. Looks like this one's going to take place up. Oh, that's the number 45 machine. The luck has ended. Running 10th position. Another almost 3 wide move there. Ryan Manning also involved. The number 9 machine involved. Patrick O'Toole nearly escaping.
Yeah, looking at this one, rewinding it back, and this one is not Chris Carpenter's fault. That 30 Ryan Manning diving it in there and just turning him, pretty much blatantly running into that left rear corner panel. Collecting a ton of cars. That number 9 popping in an engine, so he's definitely going to go behind the wall and end his night. The 9 of Sean Sadler. We saw him go around a little bit earlier, but it just, this is not the way you want to end your night, especially not on a restart like that. I mean, these guys, from what I've seen on these restarts, they're just got to learn how to use that brake pedal.
Yeah, Ryan Manning, man, looking at his car, that Thunder Up machine, looks like a Thunder for him. His car is destroyed. You mentioned the 9 machine of Sadler there, getting the most damage of anyone. Smoke, heavy smoke pouring from that machine. I think that the engine may be going on it.
Yeah, he's slowly going around the track right now, probably just trying to put his car in the best position it can be before he pulls it off. But definitely that car not under power as it's making its way around the track. If it's under any power at all, very little. But out front, Jason Gaines kept the pole position on that restart. Not enough time, like I said, Eric Mickey just needs that time. But for Jeff Davis, what I saw there, that huge push on the outside key, I mean, he got, like, I don't even know what to say about that, because it's just the way he pushed him. There's got to be some rule against that, because I don't see how that's possible.
Well, this is Richmond, and it's a short track racing at its very best. This reminds me of a Friday night or a Saturday night race at the local track down the road. I think a lot of people can concur to that this is how Richmond races. I mean, this is a very tough track, a very fun track. It's at night, very rewarding. Cars looking mighty good under the lights here.
Alright guys, so we've done a few caution flags for you, a few rounds of pit stops. We're going to take another break. We're going to step away for a moment. We'll be right back.
Landon Huffman coming to a comfortable lead, coming out of 2. He's got about 8 car lengths, put it half a second over Dwayne Vincent as Chad Cole works the number 2 spot.
Time is running out. Vincent's got it. Cole wants it to the wall. Chevrolet puts the bumper to the 13 of Vincent. Vincent not backing down. He's in second. You know, we got 1 car on the bottom, the 10 car.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Alright, so we're back just as the green flag's coming out to take lap 62 of 150 here in the AMS Extreme Performance Series, the OCRL.com. You got Jason Gaines still leading out there. You got Eric Mickey second, Jake Finch that 88 third, 24th you got Gil Gock, and 5th you got that number 3 of Jeff Davis in the Jack Daniels car.
Yeah, Jeff Davis is in that 5th spot, racing Dakota door to door right now, going into 1. You would think that Davis would have the momentum here going into the corner, but Dakota probably going to pull it off out, as you see Dakota there with momentum coming out of the corner. And it's just a, as Dakota comes down, he's going to try to put the move on him, the block. Doesn't work. Dakota's going to have to be forced to go up high as the number 3 machine goes back to 5th.
Yeah, I mean, I was amazed to see Dakota make that outside line work. That's the first time we've seen the pass on the outside all night. But now his little mistake going to let that 07 of Chad Dalton make his way by. I'm looking just behind them for the 8th place position. You got Chris Dukes on the bottom making his way by that 16 of Todd Smith. They almost bumped each other as they came out of turn 4.
Yeah, of course, Todd Smith running that GameStop. Power to the Players Chevrolet. That car looks real good as one spins in front of him. That's Dakota. He saves it, though. I'm telling you, Dakota's got his hands full here with that Tax Slayer Chevrolet.
Yeah, we heard him. He knew the setup was going to be loose coming into this race. So definitely trying to make a little bit of an adjustment down in the pits. I want to look back up front, though, with you guys because Jason Gaines got some company. Like I said, Eric Mickey needs these laps. Once they get a few laps on these tires, they're hanging right in there together. Just a moment ago, Eric Mickey was almost able to bump him. He pretty much could have stuck his hand out the window and high-five Jason Gaines. They were so close. For the first time ever, Jason Gaines actually got company out front, Keaton.
Yeah, and Jason Gaines already a 2-time winner in the AMS Oil XP Series, and Eric Mickey a 1-time winner, although looking for a win here tonight. Wanted to give a shout-out, though, before I forget, Mike Husby in the OCRL got engaged this week. He's not able to make the race tonight, but congratulations on his engagement, and we wish him the best and success. We all know how women are, right, man?
Oh yeah, we all know how they are, Keaton. I mean, you're tied to one yourself so far. I mean, you must know how that's going.
Well, it's not all that bad. You got to give a little and you got to take a little, man.
So guys, I'm looking back here. The 8th place, just checking back up with ETV's own Dakota. He's got those wheels back underneath him. But Chris Dukes in the process made that pass by him. Chris Dukes actually on the move forward as he's working his way up to 6th place. He just made his way by that number 3 of Jeff Davis. Jeff Davis now looking back to the inside as they go into turn 1.
Yeah, Jeff Davis underneath the 8 machine, as you mentioned here. That's a good place to be, down low. We mentioned the high lane here at Richmond. It's kind of hard to pass. You get a little bit of momentum coming out of the corner, but eventually you're just going to get 8 up, and you're going to also eat that right front up.
Yeah, you gotta notice though, these 3 guys right here that we were watching battle, Davis, Dukes, and Ehrman, all teammates, so they're racing each other pretty clean. They definitely don't want to wreck each other, but it looks like Dukes on that high side just falling back. Like we said, that high side's not really coming into play yet as much as I think it will on these longer runs.
So 19th to 25th here. 7 guys. Matt off pace, starting with Jeff Ford. He's a lap down. And of course to Austin Painter, which is 25th right now, 52 laps down. Still trying to figure out exactly what happened in that machine. Like I said, didn't get involved with the wreck. He just pulled it off like he just had to call it quits or something. And now he's back there at 25th. Not going to be able to gain any spots.
Yeah, I'm looking at one of the last guys we talked to, Patrick O'Toole, the last person on the lead lap. Everyone behind him that we see a lap down, heavy damage on those cars from earlier wrecks from the race. You got Sean Sadler, who did have to pull it off. Also Christopher Carpenter. It looks like that crew got that thing fixed, but still way off the pace by about 3 seconds, Keaton. So he might be seeing a flag in not too long. As Jason Gaines now pulling back out to about a 2nd lead, coming up on that lap traffic here in just a moment. But that car just dominating the field so far since it's never gotten out front.
Looks like most of the battle is going on back here with Gil Gauck, who's in 6th position right now, trying to chase down Davis, but Dakota's underneath him down in the front stretch here, and also Christopher Duke's going to bring him with him.
Yeah, and like we saw before, making that move to the inside, not going to the outside. Can't see, but Christopher Duke's hitting that apron, getting loose. Dakota's done it, everybody's done it tonight, but just, man, being able to hold on to that car, definitely a handful once it gets down there. I mean, you can just see the difference between some veterans here and some not so much. As Christopher Carpenter, he does that same exact thing, and that car is snapping around on him.
Yeah, you know, all it takes is one tire below that yellow apron, yellow line, and you know, you're pretty much going to spin out, or your car's going to be very uncomfortable. It's going to let you know that it doesn't like to be down there. You're going to try not to do that again. And we haven't seen Dakota since then do it again, so maybe he's kind of learned his lesson. He's running 6th. He got by Gill there. Now he's trying to chase down Mr. Jeff Davis, who's in 5th.
So you got Christopher Carpenter as we're watching him. He's just letting everybody by. Heavy damage, back in that 22nd position. He's just out there running laps, trying to pick up positions as he almost takes out Jeff Ford. Jeff Ford being a lap down right now, but that doesn't take him out of the race. He can still get a lucky dog. We get a caution here. But that was a really close call right there, Keith.
Yeah, it was. You're not kidding. And I'm looking at the 16 machine, Todd Smith, who's trying to get around the 24 of Gill. We mentioned Gill earlier. He was up to 5th place. Right now, something must be wrong with that car, Matt. He's letting the number 8 machine go by. Christopher Munger, who's in 10th, he's catching up pretty quick, but that's Chris Dukes right now underneath that Florida 24 machine of Gil Gonkin.
Simply wearing out that machine, Keaton, probably. I mean, eating up the right fronts of the left or the right rears. I mean, we talked about it both before this race. Different opinions a little bit here on how you could run the car and what would happen. But I think what we're seeing him experience right now is just a tight car. It looks like he's got to slow up a lot more than everybody else entering the turns.
Just a little bit over halfway here, Matt, and things have really began to settle down, as you can tell. We've got a lone green flag run here. Jason Gaines right now in control of the lead. Eric Mickey, though, falling to about a half of a second behind. Jake Finch, 2.5 seconds behind the leader. And then the gap just starts to widen down all the way to Alan Potts, who's 18th right now. Patrick O'Toole just passed him.
I'm watching the split up front, though, with Jason Gaines and Eric Mickey. One pulls one lap, one pulls the next lap. They're staying right there together, both running about 21 ones, 21 flats. Pretty consistent as this run goes on. But just to give you different, looking at this, guys, the fall off is when these guys got new tires on the car. They're running about a 20.6, 20.4 in race trim here if they're out front and not in traffic. But falling all the way back to 21.2s, 21.6s as we're getting into the later part of these runs. We're on about a 20-lap run going now as the caution is coming out.
And this is going to be for the 3 machine of Jeff Davis, who is running 5th. And this was actually thrown by a race official here. The caution flag was. The flagman did not throw this one, although he probably would have. Jeff Davis, though, Matt, extensive front-end damage to that Jack Daniels machine.
Oh yeah, as we see him, he slides right down off the wall there. It looks like he might have just got loose off the 4, trying to carry it all the way down the stretch. And then he just loses it, going into the grass and hitting that wall. Picks the car right up off the grass. Oh, and it's such a hard hit. And I mean, just the way that these guys would be still safe. I mean, real life, he'd at least still be able to not so much drive away from it like he did there, but walk away. But as Keaton was mentioning, the admins threw that caution here in this server mainly because he was down off the racing service, so a yellow probably wouldn't come out, but they felt it was safer for all the other drivers that he slid up that little bit, that they just wanted to get it out there quick enough that nobody else got involved.
Yeah, my hat's off to him for doing that, because you never know, man. If the leaders were to come around and 3 cars spun out trying to get back on the track because it's still green flag conditions, then he could have taken the leaders out, you know, or they could have wrecked each other trying to get around him. So you never know. As Jason Gaines wins the battle off pit road, Jake Finch move him up from 3rd to 2nd, and then looks like the number 7 machine there, Dakota, going from 5th to 3rd. Eric Mickey, though, not on the good end of the stick here, Matt, going from 2nd to 4th.
Yeah, but the guy I was watching, Keaton, I'm down here trying to figure out what's going on. Chad Dalton on pit road forever. So he must have had some extensive damage on that car. He's going to pretty much go all the way to the back of the lead lap cars. He's been in the top 5 all night, so this is really going to shake something up for his driving style for the rest of this race.
Yeah, in fact, you know, earlier in the race when I saw Chad up there in the top 5, I almost thought about asking, you know, look at the back of that machine. Look how torn up that race car is. Look how beat up it is. And still maintaining the top 5 position. You know, he's got a hot rod, and then he pits and takes a little longer on pit road, and presumably so because of the damage, Matt. And now the rear of that race car in a lot better shape than what it was before.
Alright guys, so under this caution, we're rounding out lap 90. We're going to have about 60 to go. We're going to step away from the AMS Oil Extreme Performance Series here with the nationwide cars at Richmond International Speedway under the lights. So we'll join you right back in a moment with your leader, Jason Gaines. Alright, so we're back as they're taking the green flag. Jason Gaines, Eric Mickey, Todd Smith, Jake Finch, and Dakota Ehrman, your top 5. Dakota finally getting that car back up there. Hopefully he's made the end of his mistakes to put him back in the field and make a run to the end. But Jason Gaines, once again, just pulling out phenomenal on these restarts, and Eric Mickey not falling too far behind. Alright, so we're taking a lap along with ETV zone number 7, Dakota Ehrman, as he's pulling up behind the number 88 of Jake Finch.
Yeah, and you can see how Dakota drives this race car. It gives us a good idea about what it's like to be behind the wheel. You see him there turning left, right, constantly battling the wheel of that race car. Probably got his force feedback up a little bit, probably some center and spring in there. Oh, as the 88 machine gets loose in front of him, Dakota avoids it. Woo! That was close, Matt.
Yeah, definitely close. That 88 though, getting it down on the apron. He's going to lose a few positions here. As that happens, you have the 24 Gilgock once again on a strong run at the beginning. I mean, he's been so strong on these short runs tonight, just using his stuff up a little too quick. Looking back a couple positions here though, fighting for the 8th place. You've got the 06 of, excuse me, the 8. You got the 67 working his way around the 8. The 99 just passed him. You got that 8 of Chris Dukes stuck on that high side, almost getting into the 67 right there, as it looks like he got a little loose on exit.
Man, Matt, that was close. He almost took that number 8 machine out, Chris 8 Thomas Dukes. And you got Lewis Gregory, who's made his way almost into the top 10. He started 12th. He's since then gained 1 position. He's in 11th right now. He's up in that battle as well, Matt.
Yeah, and right in front of the 8 right now, Chris Dukes, you got Chad Dalton, who pretty much went all the way back to 15th on that last restart. Doing some repairs on that car in the pits, trying to get it ready to go these last 50 laps here, 52 laps as we're approaching lap 99. All the way back in the field, these drivers settling down once again, single file, but that does not mean the end of the chaos as these cars all very loose. We heard our own Dakota Ehrman say his car has been loose since the beginning of the race. But so far, right now, your biggest mover going forward on the track is Chad Dalton as he's running back up onto the rear bumper of the 99 of Christopher Munger.
Yeah, Chad Dalton doing a real great job of getting that machine fixed up for the most part. He's out here. He's back in the top 10. We know he can contend for the lead here. He qualified 4th match and 2nd quickest in practice, so we know he's got the car. But the damage is going to slow him down a little bit, so we'll see how it ends up here in the end.
Yeah, definitely the damage still overall affects you. Your crew can only do so much. I mean, he looks more to be battling a tight position coming off the turns than a loose position, so definitely a little bit to do with that rear wing being a little jacked up on that car. Looking out front though, Eric Mickey making the inside move on Jason Gaines. The first lead change we've seen for a while as Eric Mickey clears him going into 1 and out of 2.
There you go. There's your points leader battling Mr. Gaines there, who's in 2nd right now. Eric Mickey, points leader, back on top of the leaderboard, leading lap 103 here at Richmond.
I'm saying it for a while, Keaton. Give him the time. He will make his way by him. They're coming up on the lap traffic car, the 97, Adam Long. He's 2 laps down currently in the 20th position, but he's been really good about just pulling out of the way for these guys. But these guys battling each other and everything, still pulling away from the 3rd place car of Dakota Ehrman. And it's a long ways back to Todd Smith, who's in 4th, and then even another long ways back over a 2nd back to the 5th place car of Jake Finch.
You notice how Gaines isn't letting Mickey get out in front of him? He's still all over the back door of that machine, so it kind of makes you feel like Jason Gaines' camp hasn't quite given up yet. He's all over the back door of that number 5 machine as they go into 1. Also, you mentioned Adam Long. He's still right there in the way. He hasn't moved up a little bit enough yet for Eric Mickey to safely get by.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't see Eric Mickey slipping up too much. He's been able to hold it right down there on that yellow line. I think right now he's just dealing with a bigger condition of that lap car, giving him maybe a little bit of an aero tight feel on the front of that car. Definitely taking a little bit slower since he's gotten out front, easing that car in, just trying to make it last as long as he can. He doesn't want to wear out those tires too quick.
There he goes. There's the hand out the window. Also, the 45 machine going to stick it 3 wide right in front of Eric Mickey. Eric's going to hit the wall. Oh, man. And he's done. He's done. His car is toast. You can tell the way it's tracking right now.
Bad luck for Eric Mickey, the way they came up on those lap cars. 3 wide, guys. Definitely going to have to be some repercussions for that lap car. The 45 of Christopher Carpenter not doing what he should have there. And, I mean, looking at this, just there's nothing that either of them could really do to avoid the situation, but that 45 Chris Carpenter definitely should have been more prepared knowing this faster traffic coming up on him. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it at this point.
Yeah, that's just a tough break for Eric Mickey. He's gonna have to pull it here behind the pit wall or down pits. He may not have to pull it into the garage, but just the way that that car looks, how it's tracking, Matt, Eric could be done for the night as far as contending for the lead again.
Yeah, and he went right after that, hunted down that 45 of Christopher Carpenter and gave him a nice bump in the rear end. I mean, doing a little bit more damage to the front end of the number 5 car, so I don't know if that was too much of a smart move for him. But Dakota not pitting under this pit stop under this caution, like a lot of people. Same thing with Jason Gaines. I think if we get on another long run here, it's really going to affect him.
I was about to say, well, I'm going to have to disagree with that call. Dakota Ehrman and Jason Gaines, the only two elected not to pit, Matt. Wendell James is a lap down. He's now going to pit. He was thinking maybe that these guys would pit and he could get his lap back, but nonetheless, the Sports Clip Haircut and Chevrolet's down pit road. He is 23 laps down, though. But, yeah, what do you think of this? Dakota Ehrman, Jason Gaines staying out on some old tires.
I mean, I really don't know what to think about it at this point, because as we saw, anything can happen, but definitely not my choice. I would want the fresh tires. As we've gotten on a few long runs here, definitely going to come into play. They haven't made a pit stop in about 10, I mean, this is like the beginning of the race all over again, Keaton. They went on about a 15-lap green flag run. They really got to think, did I save the tires the way I wanted to?
And looking at the 5 machine, Matt of Eric as he went around the 45 there, or Adam Long, you can just tell that the car's not right. I'm surprised he's not coming back down pit road to get some more damage fixed. The crew may have fixed all they could fix, but that car is just not tracking right. I mean, you see how it had an angle to the right?
Yeah, it's definitely still not going to be steering right, and it's going to be a long night for the rest of him, thinking about how that could have been avoided in any possible way. Just steaming in that car, you can see the little bit of steam coming out the window. It's not from the engine, guys. That's from the hot head of Eric Mickey right now.
Well, you know, he's thinking, you know, I'm the points leader. Jason Gaines for the lead, and led 6 to 7 consecutive laps, leading the race. Towards the end, Matt, you know, it's one thing to get, you know, taken out or get damaged at the beginning of the race, but to be taken out towards the end and being the points leader and leading the race, I mean, yeah, there's steam going to come out from behind the window of the cockpit of that car, and Eric is not a happy man right now.
Yeah, definitely not a happy man. They're lining up double file, coming back to this restart. Jason Gaines once again choosing that outside line, getting the run on the outside every time so far. Dakota's going to do his best to stick with him, but I think overall so far tonight, Gaines has that superior car out of everybody now that Eric Mickey's not in the race.
And we were just now given the word that Christopher Carpenter, the 45 machine, has been black flagged by the OCRL official, so he is out of the race. And back to green, Jason Gaines leading them down into 1, Matt.
Yeah, Gaines leading him down into 1. Those old tires showing as the 07 Chad Dalton already making his way, looking for the inside move on Dakota Ehrman as they go into 3.
He's got it. He's got it. He's underneath. He's underneath Dakota coming out of 3. Now he sets the aim. The crosshairs on the 15 machine. Jason Gaines, who's back in 1.
He's bringing that 16. Todd Smith also making the inside move on Dakota, going through 3 and 4 there. So Todd Smith up to 4th place. Dakota going back, or excuse me, Todd Smith up to 3rd. Dakota Ehrman going back to 4th, and now 5th as Jake Finch works his way around him, bringing Shannon Segler with him.
Yeah, Segler's down low, Finch down low underneath the 7 machine. That could be what we're seeing of some bad old tires there on Dakota Ehrman's machine. Now Jason Gaines, meanwhile, back at the ranch. Chad Dalton underneath Jason for the lead down the front stretch.
You see Jason getting a little loose off for 4 there as he's trying to hold on to it as much as he can. Gassing that thing up a little bit too early. You got now Todd Smith about to put Jason Gaines under fire.
Just to give you a quick update on the points leader, Eric Mickey, who was involved in a wreck earlier on, he's in 13th position, so not too bad for him, although he did lose that first position. Todd Smith now working underneath the machine of the 15 car, Jason Gaines, as they go into turn 2.
Yeah, definitely not a good night for that points leader, but enough of a points lead. He shouldn't be affected too much. Jason Gaines now losing even more positions as Shannon Segler
Tires, Matt.
I mean, yeah, you gotta really think what was going on. You gotta tell these guys they still had 40 laps to go. It wasn't 3 or 2. These guys have a long way to go. These tires are definitely going to be in effect all the way to the end.
Well, look, if I'm the crew chief, I'm going around, I'm looking at what everybody else is going to be doing, and if everybody's going to pit, then I'm definitely pitting with them. If I'm going to be the only one or two or three stay out, then those two or three are going to be left behind, and that's what we're seeing right now. Jason Gaines now falling back even further. The 88 machine of Jake Finch is now taking over that 5th spot, and just to give you an update on Dakota, he's back in 8th. And Eric Mickey's still in 13th.
Yeah, I mean, Dakota Ehrman back in 8th, not done falling back at all. As I mean, I see Gildock, Jeff Ford, and Christopher Munger just continue to gain time on that 7 machine. I mean, so far, Chad Dolan's got the next superior car. He's pulled out by about a second over Shannon Segler. Shannon Segler pretty much able to stay in equal length front of Todd Smith, and on back they're single file right now. You got Jeff Davis and Jake Finch rounding out your top 5, who chased down that 16 of Todd Smith, but just really settling in there as they've got 30 laps to go now to complete the 150.
And now you gotta wonder what's going through the crew chief of Jason Gaines and Dakota Ehrman right now, as Gaines is looking to fall back here to 7th as Chris A. Thomas Duke starts to work the back bumper. And you know, if this race stays green, Matt, how much bad can it get? I mean, for these two drivers, could they keep going back?
I mean, usually you reach an equilibrium. You know, I mean, pretty much what that was. What I mean is they just stick in that one spot where they can hang on with the guys behind them because the setups aren't quite good enough. And I think that's where Dakota Ehrman's at this point. Is he's on the older tires, but the guys behind him aren't really fast enough, even on the new tires, to go by him. So where they're going to end up right now, 7th and 8th place, Jason Gaines and Dakota Ehrman, both back to the 7th and 8th place position. I think for a long time they'll be able to stick here, but eventually, yes, Keaton, they're going to keep going back. As those tires, once they wear a little bit, they wear faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, it's like the old thing, you know, what goes up must come down. You know, Jason Gaines running a 21.2, Dakota running 21.2s, but the leaders, just to give you an idea, Chad Dalton running a 21.1, but Ziegler running a 20.9, as well as Jake Finch. So some of the guys up here in top 5 still running 20s, where Jason and Dakota still running 21.1s and 2s.
Yeah, what I was just kind of thinking in my head there is, Keaton, is these guys, even if they get another caution, they have to come down and take 4. If it's late enough in the race, you got guys up front, they can still just take 2. So it's not like they can even gain any positions on the next caution if they get one.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, Matt. That you're right. These guys that did pit a while ago, and yes, while ago is a word. I am from Alabama, so these guys that pitted a while ago, they did take 4, so they could probably elect to take right sides only and be okay. But like you mentioned, Dakota and Jason Gaines, if they take just rights only, then the lefts are probably going to make them loose because they're going to be so old and cold. So that would be interesting to see if we could get a yellow. But I'm sure the leader right now, Chad Dalton, hopes it stays green.
Yeah, he's definitely out there by about a second. And then on back over second half to 3rd and 4th, which are next closest battle on the track for right now. You got the number 3 of Jeff Davis running 3rd, and the 88 of Jake Finch running 4th. About equal lap times every time by, gaining a little bit of time on Shan Segler, it looks like right now. But also started up front on that last restart. Todd Smith wore out those tires, and he's actually going on back behind Dakota.
Yeah, seen that as and 2, if you're an Eric Mickey fan right now, just to give you an update on him, he is 14th right now. But here's the good news for Eric. Jason Gaines, who's 3rd in points right now, is running 6th. So 6 to 14 is not that big of a point difference. And Gaines is actually 17 points behind Mickey. So that means 17 positions. So if Mickey and Gaines are only separated right now by 10, then the most points he can gain, Matt, and the fans, if you're out there listening, is 10 points. So he would still be in control of the points lead. So, but Eric Mickey's got to maintain where he's at right now. He can't fall any further back. The further he falls back, Matt, the easier it will be for Gaines to catch him.
Yeah, and like I said, it just gets worse on the night for Dakota Ehrman, as he was under fire from the 24 of Gilgock just not too long ago, back in the 8th place position, but Gilgock had a little trouble of his own. Jeff Ford made his way back onto the lead lap under that last caution, and he's been picking up positions ever since. So him sticking his nose in that battle and making Gilgock have to drop off a little bit, Dakota Ehrman put himself in a little bit of a comfort zone. He's got 2 seconds to the car in front of him and about a half a second to the car behind him. Jason Gaines pretty much running clean laps every time by. He might be able to pick up 1 or 2 more positions by the end of it.
Yeah, Jason Gaines doing real well with what he's got to work with right now. The right sides and left sides are obviously a lot older than the rest of the guys, but still able to run 21.167s as the guy in front of him is running 21.249. So Jason Gaines catching him a little bit in some areas, but losing ground in others.
Alright guys, you got your leader Chad Dalton coming to take lap 135, 15 to go. So as we're coming to the closing laps of this race, we're going to step away for one final time and come back to get the checkered flag with your winner of the race and maybe possibly a new points leader. Alright, we're back and under caution, as you may have seen there. 5 car plowed by the 97 of Adam Long. That's your points leader, Eric Mickey, ending his night under this caution here. As we have about 10 to go.
He's going to get him back. He got him back, Matt. Sorry to interrupt, but look at the 16th position car right now, John. That's Eric Mickey. He is all over Adam Long, man. Beating and banging on the caution lap.
Definitely not a happy driver at all, Keaton. We saw him retaliate after that first time he got wrecked. I mean, now, points leader, that just actually pretty much took you out of the points lead, guaranteed. We were talking about under the break. Chris Dukes only 15 points behind second place in the standings. He's out there in third now. Eric Mickey's 15th, and Eric Mickey's probably just going to have to keep going on back now with all those repairs and everything. There's no way that he's going to have the points lead leaving here now, I don't think, Keaton.
Oh man, Adam Long was has just now been disqualified for intentional wrecking, and going back to that wreck that brought the caution out, you could easily tell that the 97 machine had given no signs of hitting the brakes going into the turn and just plowed him. And now he has been disqualified. He is off the racing surface. What a bad night for the 5 machine and the camp at Eric Mickey's crew.
I should say this before they really took him off the track, and it almost looked like he was going to go back at the 5 car for one more shot. But admin's picking up on that quick and taking him out as quick as they could right there. So definitely an A+ for the admins tonight, calling the cautions and calling these black flags here. For these guys, doing the best for the driver's safety and really trying to keep the sportsmanship going on.
That's right. They got to do what they deem necessary. They understand Eric's frustrations under the caution there. Eric didn't spin him out or anything like that. Just gave him a couple of big love bumps, if you will. And, you know, rightfully so, if you ask me. I mean, you got to blow the steam off one way. And, you know, if you've had a night like Eric Mickey has, then, man, I tell you, I don't think it could get any worse. He's sitting right here in 18th, the last one to be on the lead lap. Thomas Dukes is in 3rd, and Gaines is in 7th, man.
I'm looking down here at the chat, Keaton, and it looks like Adam Long off the track but not done fighting. He's saying Eric Mickey was blocking him. So he's trying to see what the admins will do about Eric Mickey. But Eric Mickey's sitting on pit road, 19th position. Chris Dukes out there in 3rd. So as of right now, Chris Dukes would be your points leader if we took the checkered flag. But coming back to green, they're still going to have about 6 or 7 laps of racing to go. So definitely going to shake it up. Also to mention, a few cars pit, few cars didn't. Out front right now, you got the 88 of Jake Finch, and on the outside of him, you got Jeff Davis starting for your front row, coming to this restart.
And then Chris Dukes, as I mentioned, in 3rd place right now on the track, and he's 2nd in points, 15 down from points leader Eric Mickey, who's sitting in 19th, 1 lap down. Folks, we may have a new points leader after the night if Chris Dukes can keep up his 3rd place run here.
Pace car is off. Jake Finch with a good restart. First one to start on the inside in a while. Coming down the front stretch, pulling out by about 4 or 5 car lines before they hit turn 1. The 8 of Chris Dukes really driving in there hard. Jeff Davis crossing them up as they come down to the backstretch.
Man, he set him up. I saw that coming from a mile away. He's setting that 8 car up for a crossover move as Eric, Jeff Davis there making the move. Oh, and Christopher Munger almost got a piece of the 8 machine down the front stretch. Did you see that, Matt?
Yeah, and I just saw that number 3 having a little bit of an electrical problem on that car. So let's hope he can hang on to the end of the race. But Dukes definitely looking to try and get to the inside of the 3 again. But it looks like he gets loose, almost hanging it up on the bottom. But everybody everywhere, you got Jason Gaines going around on the front stretch. And that's going to end our race. Jake Finch is going to take the checkered flag as your winner.
Oh, no, Jason Gaines wreck, Matt. Coming out of turn 4, got a little bit of help from the number 04 machine of Jeff Ford. Let's see where this is going to put Gaines. He spins across the start-finish line, losing multiple positions. I think he's going to go all the way back to about, well, we'll see when they cross the line here. Also, yeah, Dakota Ehrman.
I mean, I'm looking back at this. Just looks like that 15 had already lost it. The 04 already gassing it up. So the nowhere to go. That 04 Jeff Ford just did what he was supposed to do at that point and couldn't react in time to that 15 already going around.
So, Eric Mickey, if this one's in the books, which we believe it is, Matt, 19th spot. Chris A. Thomas Dukes in the number 8 machine's going to take the points lead over. And Jason Gaines is probably going to lose his 3rd position over. Eric Mickey definitely probably going to go back to 2nd or maybe even 3rd. So congratulations, Chris Dukes, for putting on a good show in 2nd. Jake Finch winning, and Jeff Davis finishing 3rd.
Definitely, and as we round out these caution laps here to come to the 150, we're going to get you guys set up for the GR Graphics post-race show here on ETV Live. You got the OCRL AMS Oil Extreme Performance Series. Jake Finch, your winner. Chris Dukes, your new points leader. We'll be right back here in a few minutes to catch up with all of them and ask them how their races went. But for right now, we're going to take a little bit of break. Me and Keaton got to go to the buffet table. We'll be right back.
All right, we're back, race fans. Welcome to the Richmond International Speedway, where things just got wrapped up in the AMSOIL XP Series with the OCRL.com Racing League, where Jake Finch, the number 88 machine, brings her home in first, Chris A. Thomas Dukes in second, and Jeff Davis in third. We've got some points battles shaking up here, but I tell you what, Jeff Davis, who finished third tonight, and who may have taken over second in the points. Jeff Davis, man, what a race. Tell us about it.
It was a wild one out there tonight, I tell you. We had a really good car, you know, and we got that good long run there, and I actually spun it and recovered really well. Got it fixed, came out there, and man, she was fast, got back up to third, and fighting for first there at the end. I think I overdrove it and gave up second and finished third, but I'll take it after that spin, man.
And Jeff, too, just to talk about some of the luck here with some of the guys that was racing for the points battle. Eric Mickey, let's talk about him first. The guy got up there, led a couple of laps, and then it just seemed for a moment there you thought the lap car was going to get out of the way. He did, but there was a second lap car, the 48 machine Carpenter, who just got in the way and sent Eric Mickey for a ride. Coming into Richmond, leading in the points, and then being taken out like that, you know, just a Richmond racing deal.
Well, no, not really. I don't know. That's tough, man. You gotta give some respect to the leaders here, and that car did the same thing to me at Atlanta when I was leading over there. So he's just one of those guys, I guess you just got to watch out for. But it sucks for Eric, but you know, he's a good driver. He'll come back.
And then too, you know, Jason Gaines, who was in third in points, who you have probably passed him. He's getting a tough break raw into the stick tilt here tonight too.
Yeah, you know, I hate for Jason. You know, he's comes out, wins the first two, and then has really bad luck these last two races here. But you know, he's a heck of a driver too. So you know, we need everything we can get on him in the points. So you know, it sucks for him, but you know, we'll go on next week.
And Jeff, this time you got anybody you like to thank, man? Who makes it happen for you?
Well, Jason Gaines, everybody at Turn 2 Motorsports, Jack Daniels, I want to thank ETV for being here tonight. Just appreciate everything you guys do.
Absolutely, and there you have it, folks. That was Jeff Davis, who finished third tonight at Richmond, sitting fourth in points right now, moving up to second more than likely if things fall his way. And now up next beside me, Chris Thomas Dukes finished second. And he's second in points. But guess what, folks? Congratulations, Chris. You're the new champ. You're the new points leader. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great. Last season, I finished fourth in points, and to be this high up in the standings this early in the season, it just feels awesome, man.
You know, and too, going to Talladega next week, December 13th, right here 2 weeks or 3 weeks before Christmas. Is there any kind of gift or anything you'd like to ask Santa Claus for? Maybe a win at Talladega that earns $3.99?
Well, a win at Talladega would be awesome, because that would be, well, one, would be my first career win, and two, the 13th is the day after my birthday, so that would be extra awesome if I can win there.
And Chris, talk to us about you know, tonight's race here just for a second. You started 8th, and you were kind of quiet, or you started 6th, excuse me. You were kind of quiet, and then towards the end you started to make your move, and man, I tell you what, it paid off for you.
Yeah, that's usually how I race here at Richmond. I finished in top 5 in the last 2 races here, and most of the time in those races I was, you know, I wasn't leading or anything. I was just taking my time in the top 10, waiting for my time to come, and usually it does, and it did here tonight, and I finished second.
And of course, Chris, I know you got some teammates you'd like to thank, and your sponsors.
Oh yes, first of all, I'd like to thank Jeff Backey Jr., who is the owner of JR Motorsports, for signing me for this season. And I also like to thank my teammate, Dakota Ehrman for helping me with this setup of his. It was awesome, man. And I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsors, Pokemon Black White 2, and everyone else at JR Motorsports. Owen Larry Scott Jr.
There you have it, folks. Chris Thomas Dukes, new points leader, going into Talladega next week. Gonna send it now down to Matt, who's standing alongside your race winner tonight, Mr. Jake Finch in JDR Graphics Victory Lane.
Yeah, Jake Finch up here in Victory Lane with me. That number 88 car, strong all night pretty much, a little bit average. We didn't see you out front too much until the closing laps. Jake, what made you make that call on that final caution to kind of put yourself out front and in that position to win?
I seen them inching like they were going to pit road, and in my mind I was like, yeah, they're not going to pit road. And then seen them go in, and I was like, should I go in? And then Dakota came over to TeamSpeak and said, stay out, Jake. And I said, 10-4. And I ended up here. This is awesome.
So all night it looked like you may have been battling your race car a little bit. Was there any like problems going on? You adjusting the setup a lot during the race?
Not really. I only adjusted it once, and then I made a bad adjustment on it, so I changed it back the last pit stop I had, and then I don't know how my car just felt so awesome after that. It was a really good car.
So excited to be in Victory Lane. You're here with the AMS Oil Extreme Pro Series with you guys and everything. So is there anybody out there you'd like to thank tonight for this win?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank Jeff Becky Jr. for the ride tonight, because this is his original car, and thank all my teammates at Junior Motorsports Dakota for the setup and for the help on it, and everyone over at Turn 2, Jason Gaines, he's always helped me a lot in my racing career here in the OCRL, and thank my family for supporting me, and Larry Scott Jr. This one's for him.
Alright, you guys heard from Jake, and of course now, Keen, my closing thoughts on this race was the racing was so close towards the end there and just so competitive all night long that these guys starting to get loose and everything was just, it wasn't a shock really to me, but battling loose cars all night, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. You know, this race started out like I thought it would, and we had that real long green flag run there where Dakota Ehrman, Jason Gaines electing to stay out, not pitting, the only two that did not pit. And, of course, Jake Finch, Chris, Jeff, Munger, and Ford, and some of the other guys able to get by them. And we've seen Dakota finish 17th and Jason finish 18th. Richmond's one of those tracks where tires are so important, saving that right front tire. And, you know, we saw some different guys up in the lead, running for position before the wreck started to happen. So we got to see a bunch of different guys take the leads here. We had 8 lead changes, a total of 10 cautions, and, of course, Jake Finch finishing in the lead here tonight. But, you know, next week's Talladega, Matt, and that's anybody's race.
Definitely anybody's race, but from what I understand, we got ETB Zone Dakota Ehrman back up here in the booth, back up here with us, just talking around with everybody. Can't quite get him on the microphone yet, but I know we want to say congratulations to him. He had a hard race, got himself in a little bit of trouble. Not such a great finish for him tonight, but so far, we're just going to say good night. We had a great Lipton T 150 laps here at Richmond International Speedway under the lights. Once again, congratulations to Jake Finch pulling away the win with the OCRL League tonight. So it's Matthew Close, Dakota Ehrman in the car tonight, so he's not up here in the booth. You got Michael Keaton beside me, and you got John Westland down there pressing the fingers. And we'll just see you guys all, I believe. Our next event is Monday night with Real Sim Racing.
Thank you.